that was very easy.
All right, let's see if we can watch live now.
Welcome, everybody.
Oh, it's live. Look, it's a little bit of a lag. Watch live now.
I don't understand why every single time you do a Facebook Live, it's different. And why is it so different on the phone versus on the laptop?
I have no idea.
I think
we're in the shot and everything's going.
I think the reality here is Mark Zuckerberg is just a terrible person.
No, I don't. I just think progress comes at a price to people who
That's
don't
true.
use things every day.
That's true.
But we're gonna start using it more.
Yep.
Which camera are we gonna be looking at?
Well, we're going to be looking at this camera here. That camera is that's a secondary camera. We're not going to worry about that one.
Okay. All right.
All right, so Monday Mayhem. We started this project in 2021. We never had time to do it. Everyone said, you guys should do a podcast.
Do a podcast.
You guys should really do a podcast. Be on Spotify. But we didn't have time for a podcast.
No.
So this is my great idea. Instead of a podcast, I was like, well, we have this wealth of just really stupid stories to tell from
And
being...
experiences.
That's true. From being bicycle racers. I know, so boring. That we figured we should probably just tell all of them.
Yeah.
So my idea is let's just sit here in our cool studio
Yeah.
where we build bikes and fix bodies and make people fast. And we should tell our cool stories, and I'm just going to upload them to YouTube. And it's going to be, is that a vlog?
That's a vlog. And then if we want to, we could also upload them to like a podcast.
That's true. Because nowadays, podcasts, they also record themselves. So it's basically doing exactly what we're doing.
Exactly. We could also extract the audio.
Because who doesn't want to watch a podcast, right?
Well, it's a talk show.
That's true. Then it's just a talk show.
Should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, we should.
Do you want to introduce you?
I'll introduce myself.
Okay, you go first.
Guys, I'm Ben. If you look at the title of this, or logo, it's called Monday Mayhem with Rocket and Ben. I'm Ben. Some people call me Ben.
I call you Ben.
Yep.
After his dad always called him that. R.I.P. Benjamin.
Yeah. I did see Laura commented, and she said, is this a typo? And it occurred to me, Laura Leduc, she doesn't know this Ben story.
Yeah.
So like Rocket just said, my dad always called me Ben. I don't know where it came from. He called me Ben. Rocket thought it was hilarious, so she always called me Ben. We were at a camp that we were putting on, one of the very early camps, and she kept calling me Ben. We had some new campers there who didn't really know us well, and later on I heard them leaving a meeting where we all met, and I heard the one woman say, no, it's B-I-N, Ben, I think he's European. And so it's kind of just stuck ever since then.
Yeah.
I don't really like it, but I am what I am.
Okay, and what are your accolades?
My accolades?
Yeah, why would anyone want to pay attention to you at all?
No, they wouldn't. No, they definitely would not. I have no idea. I mean, I guess those guys right up there, that's about the only thing.
For those of you that can't see, there's a bunch of national championship jerseys.
Yeah, I used to ride a bike pretty fast. What I thought was pretty fast. I liked to ride bikes fast, so. Yeah. What about you? What are your accolades?
I have my name is Dr. Christy Keeley. So here's the thing about being a woman, microfeminism, is no one is going to talk about how great you are, and so you have to do it for yourself, otherwise people just, I don't know, they think you're a nurse. Not that there's anything wrong with nursing, but they think you know nothing. I learned that along the way. So my name is Dr. Christy Keeley. I am also a retired professional bicycle racer. I have really enjoyed having the opportunity to race road, mountain bike, gravel, stage race, and then I got to work in a traditional healthcare setting for a while, came down with a chronic illness. I am now kicking butt with it, but I work in the wellness arena, getting people healthy using lifestyle choices. Get them as healthy as I can. There's still definitely a place for Western medicine, but I like to do as much as we can without it.
That's amazing. Thank you for filling us in. I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up, but Rocket's service dog here, our child dog, is sitting under the camera growling because she's pissed off that we're not paying attention to her.
She's having
So if you can hear a kind of low roar growl, that's exactly what that is. You'll probably meet her shortly. Here she comes.
Come here, sweetheart.
So I was thinking for this evening's pod/vlog talk show, we would do something fun. We can both. Rocket has no idea what we're doing tonight. This is kind of something I'm springing on her. We are both going to talk about our favorite bicycle race victories of all time. Not necessarily like the best victory, but just the best memory, the best story of a win we ever had.
Oh, I got mine.
So I want you to think about what yours
I got
is. I've got mine, and we're going to both guess what each other's are before we each tell our story.
Are we gonna, so like, do I describe your win?
No, you just, no. I'm going to describe my win, because it's my win.
Do I describe
You're going to describe yours,
Okay.
but you're going to guess which one you think I'm going to want to tell the story about.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess the one
Okay.
that you're going to
Do I get to go first, or do you get to go first?
Now I know this is not technically a Facebook Live, but we got any viewers over there?
Oh,
Holy cow, we got 100
so
viewers.
100,000 viewers right now.
That's wild. 100,000. You guys hear that? All right. Who wants to guess first?
I'll guess yours.
You're gonna guess mine?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Drum roll, please. Honey, sit. Pay attention.
Honey
You
is
don't-
upset. My blood pressure's a little low. She's being a little rowdy.
You've never even witnessed us riding bikes fast, have you?
Okay, do I get to guess yours?
All right. Let's hear it.
Okay, so do I describe it or just list it?
Just put it out there, because I don't want you to describe it, because I want to describe it.
Okay, well, I think I'm wrong, but this is just what comes to mind.
Well, that's not how this works.
Okay, so we had just finished.
Pretend this is a competition. You need to guess which one I'm going to
So
tell.
we had just finished Spartanburg. This might be it. Honey, down. Excuse us. Stay. We had just finished Spartanburg Regional. Spartanburg? A criterium. A national level criterium, speed week.
Yep.
And I think it was Spartanburg. And I was going to do. Am I stealing yours?
No, you're just
Okay.
wrong.
I'm going to tell it anyway. I was like, let's go do mountain bike marathon national championships after this event. Maybe we had a rest day. I don't know. So we had just done a big speed week race. I was on the podium. And there was champagne. Of course, I did not eat after the criterium.
I believe Julie Kaliza locked her keys in her
No.
car.
That's not what
Oh,
happened.
that's right, yes.
I couldn't find the keys. So it was time to go. It was like 10 p.m. We had done. So we raced, I raced, then Ben raced, then we did podium. So I hadn't eaten since pre-race.
So
Podium
you raced,
involved.
haven't eaten, drank a bunch of
You
champagne,
spray champagne, you drink the champagne.
white girl wasted.
White girl wasted, just like causing mayhem in a downtown, but you're a professional bike racer and people don't care. And then, Ben, look at your backup camera, that's the primary working camera. Okay, so, white girl wasted, Ben gets ready to go, we gotta book it, we have like a 2.5 hour drive.
Drive to Augusta,
To
Georgia.
an 8 a.m. start.
Who wants to go to Augusta, Georgia?
And like I was a little irritated because I had to wait for Ben's race till we could do the podium, and then because you know we have to.
Because men's criterium
Yeah,
racing
because-
is in the middle of the night.
Because you have to do the women's podium after the men's race. Why?
Well, they want to wait for all the spectators to
Whatever.
be wasted by
So
the
it's
time
like
they start.
11 p.m. We're like, okay, it's time to go. We go to get in the car, and I'm like buzzed, and we can't find the keys. We cannot find the keys Do you
to
remember
your
this?
teammate's car.
Was there a team?
It was your teammate's car, yeah.
I feel like we couldn't leave though.
Yeah, because, yeah.
So we had to call a tow truck company, and they had to come and stick the thing in there. Do you remember that? And then they finally unlocked it, and our keys were in her car.
Yeah,
Well, turns out they weren't even in her car.
exactly.
They were on the tire, so we didn't need to wait at all. So we had waited an hour, hour and a half, I don't know, too long. Anyway, so we drove 2.5 hours, slept in the car,
Well, we camped at the start.
slept in the car.
Yeah.
Slept in the
I mean,
van.
that's a very acceptable thing nowadays, camping in a Sprinter van. I mean, that's
We
pretty
got
cool.
there at like 1. We got up at like 5:36.
That was before it was cool to camp.
You probably
in
had a
Mercedes Sprinter
huge
van.
bowl of oats. And anyway, so then I'm getting ready. His start is before mine. And then I'm getting ready, and I'm like borrowing a pump somewhere. And the winner of the men's race isn't supposed to come for like another half an hour. And I'm pumping up air in my tires, and I don't know if it's because we're connected as soulmates, but something told me to just look up, stop pumping my tires. And I look over, and here comes this blonde bombshell out of the woods. It was kind of a downhill, or maybe it was just going really fast. And just across the finish line, and I was just like, I think Ben just won the national championship. And it was, I don't think they had the finish line like fully set up yet. They were not ready.
That's a different race you're thinking
No,
of.
they weren't calling your name. Like, there was no pomp and circumstance. I was like to see him another lap to go. It was very interesting. Anyway, I like the back-to-back, like, 2 races at that level within 12 hours. I thought that was really impressive.
But I think we probably finished at 9:30 p.m. And then it was an 8 a.m. start.
Yeah. And then with me losing the keys, I thought you could really flame me for that, so that might add to it. So that's why I picked that one.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. Yeah, it's kind of funny how the difference between criterium racing and mountain bike racing, and now, I mean, let's be honest, that was 2015. That was Endurance Mountain Bike Nationals Marathon, which is basically gravel racing now. So started at the butt crack of dawn.
I didn't feel like it was gravel racing. It was a lot of single track.
No, I'm saying it's replaced it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for that great story. That
That
was
was
not the right answer. I'm going to now guess yours.
Okay.
I'm going to guess the story you want to tell about yourself is when you won Rouge Roubaix solo.
Oh, that's a good one. That was not it. Wait,
That was not it?
No.
Okay, well, that was a good one.
Although
as well.
I really liked it, but you weren't there.
I wasn't. I was sick. I sent my team to Oklahoma State Medical to bring Rocket down to race Rouge Roubaix. Rouge Roubaix is a 100-mile road race, men and women.
One thing I do really like about cycling at that level is the men and the women racers, not the management, the racers are really good at pooling their resources.
Of course, yeah.
Like, oh, you have a pump, we have an air fryer, and so you'll like put those things together.
Sounds like in this situation, you needed everything out of my team.
Yeah, so we're pooling resources.
So my team, rock down to this race. So Rock, the crit sprinter, road racer, went to go do 100-mile Rouge Roubaix, which is really funny. Rouge Roubaix now is just a gravel race. I mean, that's what it is.
What was
Oh
that?
no, we lost our live stream.
The tape didn't hold.
All right, guys, there we go.
Hey, I grew up there. Oh,
Yeah.
There's the lag.
Oh boy. All right, so anyway, I digress. Rouge Roubaix is now basically just a gravel race, but back then, in that was 2016, who knows, 2017, I think it was 2017.
Stay.
It was just on road bikes. Let's just see whose bike can make it through this race with just massive potholes and mud and everything. So Rocket won that race solo. And she grabbed like a $100 bill at the top of a climb. It was like a preem, and as she came across the finish line, she's holding up the $100 bill.
That was one of my favorite victory salutes.
Yeah. And you really showed it. You really gave it to the men's team that day, because the best we did was third.
They didn't even want to stay for my podium.
Well, no, they didn't.
They were like, oh, we're
They
hungry.
knew that team captain was going to be pissed.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work to get those guys ready for that race. So.
You got my bike ready. That was the one time. Man, that bike team was taken very good care of compared to my bike.
That's true. I feel like we could do 20 episodes of whatever we're doing right now, just talking about weird shit
Okay, one time, hold on.
that's happened within bike
Real
teams
quick,
we've been on.
one time, I was coming out into the garage to get something, and Ben was taking my pedals off of my bike, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like this, and he's like, deer in headlights, who are you taking them for? Who?
Probably my pedals.
No, you were taking them for one of your teammates.
I don't know. Who knows?
And he was going for, like, you were going for like a weekend or something, and I was gonna not have pedals. Unkind.
All right, we really got to get on to this. Okay? I mean, I think these things time out after a certain amount of time.
All right.
All right, who's going to tell their story
You
first?
tell your story first.
Yeah.
Your favorite win, right? That's.
I don't think necessarily favorite win. This is just like favorite story of a win.
How is that different from favorite win?
The
Or are you
circumstances.
just repeating me?
The circumstances leading around the win.
Ben likes to repeat me
Ben likes to repeat your
because he thinks people don't listen to me.
Yeah. All right, so let me paint the picture here. Let me paint the picture.
Okay.
This was.
I'm not a good storyteller, so mine's gonna be really.
I'm actually not sure about the year. I think it was maybe 2016. We had this really cool series that was around for a very long time called Crossroads Classic.
Oh.
Awesome series.
I mean, it was a good series. I was just thinking it was so hot.
Really cool
One
series.
of the years was hot.
So these races were over in kind of like the Winston-Salem area, and it always changes.
You
Anyway,
registered me as Chris
It was
for
a-
the pro men's race.
obviously, yeah. I didn't want to scare all the men that there was going to be a lady in the race with them. They was going to beat them. Speaking of that, I got another story for you. Okay, let me continue. So, Crossroads Classic, we had the whole squad there, Team Palmetto State Medical.
Glorious spot.
Glorious squad. Of course, it was a night crit. It was probably like a Wednesday. It was just pitch black. Very dark course. One of my favorite courses. It was raining.
Oh, this is a good story.
Yeah,
I
you
hope Johnny's watching.
You actually gave me like a, what do you call that? Like an alley-oop to win this race. So
I was there.
So this is the year Stradali. This is a sponsor of ours, the bike sponsor.
I told Johnny to join this so he could patch back. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I feel like this is going to be like a 6-hour podcast.
It's not.
Is this a podcast or is it a talk show? It's a talk show.
It's a pod.
All right,
It's gonna be a
so
pod.
Stradali, this is our bike sponsor. Really nice guy that owned this company. He owned a motorcycle company, right? So think of like chopper motorcycles and the type of person that's going to run that company. Years before, we're down in Florida, we meet this guy. He's like a Miami guy. And this guy would literally go to the local strip club called Coco's. And he'd hire strippers for the day and come to the local bike races to have the strippers there promote his bikes. It was a really awkward thing. I have lots of photos from it for some races. It was weird. Handful of years later, he decides to sponsor our team with these bikes, Stradali. I mean, hey, we won national championships on these bikes, so they were decent bikes. But they're Stradali's. The Stradali logo was like in the Ferrari kind of font, so that kind of gave me an idea of what to think.
That's true.
So we're on the Stradali's. We've got pit bikes, we got everything, right? And I don't know what it is. It's like halfway through the season. I think we're just feeling really lazy. We're like, you know what? We don't need pit bikes today. Let's just go to the start line and race. No big deal. So we're a handful of laps in. It's raining. We come to the final left turn, and Charlie Howe.
And I'm in the pit. I could have easily pushed a bike.
Yeah. Charlie Howe just, I don't know. He eats shit. Causes a crash. I'm on his wheel. I go flying over top of him. We land in a big pile. No big deal. Grab our bikes, head to the pit to take our free lap. Those of you that don't know what a criterium is, you can crash spectacularly, and you can take your time, go to the wheel pit like NASCAR. When the pack comes back around, you can hop back in. So I hop back in, and I notice my bike's not shifting. It's Di2, it's electronic, and so I'm like, oh well, crap! Like the shifter's toast. And so I kind of look into to the pit, and I said, "Hey, I need to take another free lap." So they wave me in. I come in, and I notice the shifter is just broken. Like it's not going to shift. But I'm in a really easy gear. And I'm like, okay, well, this is no good. So I hop back. They're like, you need to get back in this lap, otherwise you're done. And so you'd be a lap down. So I jump back in the race, and I'm just spinning.
It's dark.
It's
spinning
dark.
like. It's important to know that it's dark.
It's very dark. I'm spinning like 140 cadence.
Do we have radios? I feel like we didn't have.
No, we didn't use. We
were
use
just
radios.
screaming. This is all
and
about
so,
screaming.
I'm telling the guys what's going on, and I'm like, hey guys, like.
How many
this
people
is
are
bad.
in the field? 100?
I don't know. I mean, probably big.
It's a big group.
Maybe 100. And so I screamed to Christy in the pit. I'm like, Christy, go to the trailer and get the pit bike. Get my pit bike. And so she goes to the trailer.
So I have about like 4 minutes.
Yeah, not much time. I mean, however much time you take, I've got to be spinning a ridiculous cadence on this course. It's a fast course. So Christy runs. She gets the pit bike. She brings it back. Keep in mind, like this whole year, we've never even had to use a pit bike, which is why we're like, we don't need it. So she comes back.
That's such a good
But
story.
now at this point, I know this is like thing. I never get to tell these stories. At this point, I can't take another free lap. I've used all my free laps. So we have to do cyclocross style dismount and remount to get a new bike. So think of you watch a cyclocross race, you pull into the pit, you jump off, remount the bike, and keep going.
Except in this scenario, there's a Peloton.
Yeah, it's Peloton.
And if you're out of the draft, you have to work.
And we're not in mountain bike shoes, we're in cleats. So I tell Parker kind of drops back with me, we went to the front of the group, Parker drops to the back of the group. So I came into the pit on the left-hand side, like on the front of the group, did a cyclocross style remount,
We didn't know if this was legal.
Yeah, I was on the side of the bike, I come flying in, I launch the bike, Christy grabs it while she's holding the bike, and I jump on it, I cyclocross style remount it, hop on. By the time I get up to speed, I'm now like pretty much last wheel in the group, and Parker's right there with me.
That's right. It's a good thing it was a big field because I was strung out.
Yeah.
So you jumped off at the beginning of the Peloton,
Yeah.
and you jumped back on just as the end of the Peloton was coming by.
Yeah. And I believe it was the very last lap to take a free lap. So now we've got 4 laps to go, 4 or 5 laps to go.
And were you chasing?
No, because we were right on the back of the field.
Right.
So now Parker helps me get to the front of the field.
Which getting to the front takes some time.
Yeah. And as soon as we get to the front, Winston had just pulled back, a couple people that were off the front. And so as soon as I get there, boom, Team Palmetto State Medical, full lead out going. We're ready to go. And we do a lead out. The guys, like I always, execute a perfect lead out for me to take the win on the pit bike. And it was just the coolest thing
It
ever.
was so wild.
I think Musa was second place, so we went first and second.
I remember being like, that counts, right? Like, we didn't get to qualify.
Yeah. But no, that's just like.
Oh, and I had one earlier that day.
Of course you did. Yeah. So not necessarily like biggest, most important win ever, but it's just like the coolest story of a win.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and you helped. If you weren't there, we might have. Actually, come to think about it, we still would have won. Musa would have won that race, but.
Yeah, but first and second.
I know.
That's a good payday.
That's true. Yeah.
And it was glorious.
Yeah.
And I remember the officials were like, I don't know, because I was like, this is okay, right? And they just had no idea.
Yeah. And I think, actually, I can't remember. Whatever.
One thing about officials is they're just people doing the best they can in that moment. They're not machines. They're not robots.
Yeah.
They're not. They
There's a lot of really good officials and some really bad ones.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're really just doing the best they can. Like, a lot of times they make bad calls, but it was the best call they could make at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I digress. That's a really good story.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
All right, I can't wait to hear yours now.
Okay, so the problem is with me retelling stories, and the reason I don't retell a lot of stories, especially with you around, is because I am don't have a lot of
Not
options.
to cut you off, is this a flower vase I'm drinking out of?
It is.
I think it's a flower
100%
vase.
flour base.
Okay, that's fine. Alright.
And this is a
That's peanut butter
peanut
jar.
butter jar. Upcycling is cool. Okay, so anyway, so I tend to mix events together. So I'm giving you full license right now to correct me.
And you all know I will.
Okay.
No, that's not what happened. No.
So I don't know what year it is. I think we're in Indianapolis. I think it was before PT school. I think it was the Vera Bradley race. Maybe.
Okay.
I might be combining two races.
I think she's combining.
I think actually it might not have even been in Indianapolis. But I'll start telling the story and then you can help me fill in the gaps. Which is good because you like to talk too. Okay, so it's me and I'm racing by myself. Okay? And I'm going up against, oh shoot, what are their names? Tina Schofield.
No, my
And
God.
Emily,
Tina
I'm combining two
Schofield was
races.
from Miami.
I know, but I thought maybe they
No.
were up there. Okay, so it's in Miami. Sorry.
Oh, this is pre-concussions. This is
No,
before
it
all
is
her
looking-
concussions.
It might have to do with concussion. I don't know. But anyway, so we're in Miami, not Indianapolis. Oh God, now I hope I'm remembering the right people even.
I mean, guys,
Should I have checked with you?
Miami, Indianapolis, it's all
They're
the same.
both hop-in cities. Just ask Andreas here.
Alright.
Really good.
You know, just roll with it.
Okay, so, and again, correct me. So, what had happened is these two racers were really, really good, and I'm decent. But I was in PT school. It's coming back to me now. Was in PT school.
So coming back.
Not all of it is coming back. But I was in PT school, so I didn't have great fitness, and this was actually a really good time for me to learn lots because I didn't have the fitness to just do whatever I wanted. I still had a good bit of fitness. But anyway, so we have the whole Peloton of women, which include Tina and who's the other chick's name?
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth.
The two that were like,
Morse-
yeah, there you go.
And so there are two different types of riders. Okay, so
Tina was the sprinter.
Tina's a sprinter. Elizabeth Morcel was
A worker.
a breakaway rider and a really fit rider, but not as punchy as Tina. And so I remember Tina's name, so that's good. So anyway, these two are just taking turns attacking me all day long. And I think we ended up in a breakaway, the three of us. So it's like 2 against 1, I'm isolated. And what traditionally happens in this is they'll just take turns attacking, trying to get away from you. And then since I'm the only one from my team, it's my job, unless I want to lose, it's my job to go get every single attack and try to stay, with the leader at all times. And then eventually I just can't cover any moves. And so then I hope to God for second or maybe third place. But I'm a little more stubborn than that and a little more crafty than that. So what I did is I chased down one of Elizabeth Morsel's attacks. Am I getting this right?
Mm-hmm.
So far? I chased her down and then I let Tina go. I knew Tina was going to go. And then Tina attacked. And then instead of going right to Tina or trying to jump in her draft, I decided to ride the exact same pace. Is this wrong?
I knew you were going to do this.
Is it my...
You're combining two stories.
I did this with them.
Okay.
I did
Well,
do this
to be
with
fair,
them.
you probably
I've
did.
done it
yes.
more than once.
That's
I'm
true.
combining, I think the first time I did it was in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So I have done
Okay,
this
okay.
before with them. So
Okay.
I rode tempo behind, probably 100, 200 meters? Behind Tina, the sprinter.
Very close. Yes.
Not-
So where it looked like you couldn't quite catch her.
Right, but not close enough that Elizabeth on my wheel could jump because that would drag her, then I would get in her draft and then we'd be all three together and it would look like like she's chasing our teammate. So I neutralized Elizabeth Morse-Hill by her being on my rear wheel, and I wasn't quite closing it to Tina, and slowly but surely, Tina got tired.
Okay, so while this was happening, I was watching it with a few buddies of mine as we were getting ready for our race, and well, the first time in Indiana that this happened, the first time you did this, Ryan Knapp said to me, "This is either the dumbest tactic I've ever seen someone do or the smartest thing I've ever seen someone do." So we'll wait and see the outcome of the race, and we'll see.
Yeah, so anyway, eventually Tina started to get a little tired, and I waited like as long as possible because I only have so many matches left, right? I'm a full-time student, like, I don't have good fitness. I'm riding like 4 hours a week, maybe. And so I essentially burned up the sprinter. And so then what happened is eventually we caught Tina with not very much time to go, and then I honestly don't remember how the final laps went, but I ended up winning, beating the two. And there's a really lovely podium photo. I love their competitive spirit. Elizabeth is just like the meanest mean mug you will ever see. She's really tough. She's a construction worker. But anyway, so yeah, I got them both. So it's me in the middle and then the two teammates on either side. And it was like one of the craftiest moves I've ever done.
Yeah. No, that was actually very genius. And yes, the first time she did it, everyone's like, "What is she doing?" You did it a handful more times, but normally what happens is when there's a 3-rider breakaway, 2 teammates and 1 other person, which you're a sprinter, it's almost impossible for you to win because they're just going to keep counterattacking you. And when you were just letting Tina hang out there and not quite dragging her back, you kind of had them fooled. They're like, "Oh, like we've got Christy on the rivet here, like she can't catch Tina." And Elizabeth is just waiting for you to blow up and then for her to go around you. But little did they know that you were just doing fine just holding her there.
Yeah.
Because what any rider would want to do is just quick close the gap.
Any sprinter especially.
Yeah, and get to Tina. But then guess what's going to happen? As soon as you catch Tina, boom, there goes Elizabeth. And now you're going to have to start the whole thing all over again. So
That's the worst.
I'm surprised. Yeah. I've actually never witnessed anyone do that ever successfully.
It's hard. It's really hard, and it's like, especially like, you don't want to go over threshold, right? Every minute over threshold is like you're taking, away from your finish, and so I just figured it's way better to stay. Under threshold. I was just under threshold, and save it. So
I love it. Well, I think we should definitely do some more of these Monday Mayhems because now that the old brain is churning.
Sorry, mine's so foggy.
I got a lot of things I want to talk about. Well, maybe next time what we can do is you can talk about things post concussion, so they're like
No,
really fresh.
everything's foggy. Everything is foggy. Oh, there's Kate. Sorry, I know we're not supposed to talk about.
Alright guys, if you're watching this live, go ahead and put some comments in there and let us know what we should talk about next time because
Oh yeah.
I've got a lot of
Or
ideas.
if you're not watching it live, if you're listening to it another time and you're on a walk or whatever and you want to know some like good stories.
Maybe you want to hear about some like really fun and exciting like UCI team corruption with team owners and riders and lots of really fun stories.
I feel like we're going to get a lawsuit, sir.
No, I think, well, what's that whole thing where it's been like a few years and you can't get in trouble? Well, we didn't do anything wrong. How are we going to get in trouble?
All right.
Well,
Thank you
I think
so
that'll
much
do it.
for joining us.
we're going to go ahead and put this on YouTube so you can all go watch it again, our podcast, vlog, talk show. Honey, would you like to come and say goodbye? Come here.
She likes me.
Come on. What are you eating? Oh.
Good girl.
Come on. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us. We'll see you next time.
She
And,
was miserable.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hi guys. Thank you, Dan Hagen.